if nothing else, you're going to just stand there and say, okay, what's going on today? Like, this is not...
And you break the pattern.
And you just break the pattern.
Yeah.
If you go into a situation, you think, I got some bad news for them, and they're gonna get angry, and because they always do.
Yeah.
You're so convinced that that's what's going to happen that you're actually provoking it.
Absolutely. And the thing is, if you have that experience of that happening in the past, and you go into it with that mindset of remembering, you are going to instinctively play out the kind of the mannerisms and the speech patterns, everything you did when you triggered them last time.
Exactly.
So you are going to anchor them to the anger.
Absolutely.
Like, and connect them to it.
Yeah, it's like, if you're used to dancing one specific dance with somebody, you always dance the rock and roll. Well, when you go towards them, you're already going to put your arms and your feet in the position that sort of invite them to that dance. And just by your mannerism, the other person is going to come and join you in that dance. If you're standing there and you're putting your feet somewhere else and you're putting your arms somewhere else, they can't just dance rock and roll while you're dancing the waltz. If nothing else, you're going to just stand there and say, okay, what's going on today? Like, this is...
And you break the pattern.
And you just break the pattern.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting because I've had a conversation with a friend one evening, and she was talking about her husband and this pattern, this dance they would always get into. And I just sort of suggested, well, maybe just go home and pretend this has never happened before, and just sort of imagine that this is, you're going to have this conversation, and just be really curious about what's going to happen rather than anticipate what's going to happen. And the next morning I had a text message like 6 a.m. She said, you know what? I got home and I opened the door and he was already completely different. Like, she hadn't even said anything yet. It was just the fact that we discussed it and that in her mind she was going to do this differently. Like, it was weird.
Yeah, the thing is,
you're probably going to have a really good woo-woo explanation for that.
Well, do you know, I don't know how woo-woo this is, to be fair, but no, in that, I could definitely go woo-woo here. I think the first thing that came to mind was her expectations shifted her whole, biochemical balance when she walked into that situation. She's used to walking in there nervous, concerned. The brain is producing the chemicals that are connected to nerve and being nervous and being concerned, and she has the same chemical cocktail running through her and she walks in each time. You've shifted that. The alchemist in her brain has made a different concoction for her to have, and she's walked in there and she feels fantastic. She feels different. And then, if we want to get woo-woo, then, kind of the frequency that she comes in from, her level of vibration is entirely different. And when your frequency is different, if that person in the house is vibrating at a frequency of anger and you come in at a frequency of love, they're dissonant, it breaks. There's no dance. She's dancing tango, he's dancing rock and roll. It has to break, the pattern has to break. So just a little bit of woo-woo for you there.